everyone. Well, it's time to talk a little bit about this Jalopy challenge. It's been a long-standing series around here, and finally we're going to bring it to the Showdown. We're just going to go over a few little rules, the years. First of all, 1926 to 1940 is the rules for the car class, and you must use the model kit, so you can't just have an open frame roll bar thing. You have to actually use the body panels. Basically, what you see in front of you and some of the prototype videos that we've shown make it pretty self-explanatory, at least for me. We are going to allow the truck series. Again, we're removing the fenders, as you can see on the prototypes. I'll allow maybe a half fender on the truck. The cutoff year for the trucks is 37. So this kit is like the last year good example of what you can model. After that, the bigger 40 Ford sedans and stuff, that just gets away from the whole Jalopy theme. So 1926 to 1940, and I know that you can make a fantastic, great looking old Jalopy with those years. With the addition of the truck series, we've decided that you can enter 2 vehicles. You can enter 1 truck and 1 car, because it's really hard to choose, right, between a car and a truck, because hey, trucks are cool. So there you go. You can build 1 of each. Some body modeling notes. You can, in the car class, do an open top, a roadster, but again, you must have the roll bar detail, driver, dash, steering wheel, etc. So you want to add the scale detail, but you can go topless if you want to. If you choose a later model, like the 40 Ford, for example, very popular model, you need to remove the fenders and the running board. Most of the kits come like this. So you're not going to use this. You can use this in the hood and the engine detail, but you need to get rid of the fenders and the running board. On the chassis work, it's almost all scratch built, and you want the frame rail detail, the bumpers, etc. As far as the rear is concerned, you can use old ProTrack or H&R bulkheads cut down like this if you want to. I'm only allowing that because we have a lot of legacy cars that we use these on, but I highly suggest using the SCC brackets. We show the part numbers in there as usual, and just like this, Dave's got a great chassis right here. Just a very good design, just using some square tubing, the bracket, and creating a great looking Jalopy. So again, 100% scratch build on this. There's no hybrid 3D plastic, anything like that. So all brass and steel design, but again, you can use these old back half of these bulkheads if you need to. All right, we'll talk interiors for just a little bit. Yes, you have to have one. No molded Lexan blobs. You have to model them. So driver figure, roll bar detail especially, that goes a long way. Dash panel, steering wheel. You don't have to go a full interior. You can do this. This is just a playing card. I like to use those. They're cheap enough. Thin plastic, and you can just do a little quarter tray like this, or you can go out modeling just like Shotgun Dave here. You can go with a full interior if you want to, and you know what, hats off to you. Go for it, because again, it's all about the modeling and the scale detail, the realism, making the cars look like they should. But you can get away with it with a half tray. It's up to you. Talking about guide placement, I don't want the guide to stick out any further than a 1/4 inch from the front bumper. Preferred, it would be completely hidden like that, or flush with the front bumper system. It would just look a lot better that way. I have a few old cars from the Legacy series that are just extended slightly, so that's going to be the max. So right around 1/4 inches from the front bumper should be all the further you need to go. So a few chassis notes here, just to let you know that the max width, front or rear, is going to be 3 inches. That looks a lot more realistic. The cars just weren't that wide, for one thing, and for another thing, it helps minimize and reduce the wheel-to-wheel contact in the corners here. Given our lane spacing, yes, we have like 4¼ lane spacing, so we have plenty of room. But you know, the wider you get, the more contact you have for no good reason, really. So I just want to keep the realism, scale realism, as well as minimize that contact. So 3 inches is going to be your max width. As for motors, we're still basing this series largely on the Predator 20,500. So please, if you can build, if it's a fresh build, I highly suggest using this motor, because all of our future series are going to be based on this motor, as has in the past. The only reason I've allowed some changes for this series is basically due out of legacy for some of the older cars that we've built that I don't want to have to rebuild them, that won't fit the long can, is the only reason why I've allowed the FC130, the S-can. So as far as those motors are concerned, we'll just throw these out here. The first one that's legal is going to be the Predator, the ball bearing one, 22.5. You can put that in there if you want and give a ball bearing motor a try. Also going to allow the old Piranha, because it's right in there with the RPMs right around 21.5, and that goes for the Cyclone here from LEB, 21.5. So you have these 3 S-cans that will be legal, and that's it. But please, again, primarily I want you to use the long can Predator 20,005, because in the future, if we hold this series again, which we will, this will be the only motor. All right, on to the wheels and tires. As usual, the Paul Gauge urethane blend is the only legal tire for the rear. For the fronts, you can use old foams like this if you want. You can use silicone, you can use just about anything you want on the front, but for the rear, you will use Paul Gauge urethane. Now, this is 26-12-0. That's a great size for this class. You can go up to the 28-12s. This is a 5 because it has the inner rib. This one doesn't, and that's what we're going to talk about here next with the wheels. But Paul Gauge urethane on the rear as usual. As far as tires sizes go, there's also the KKs, the Firestones, and we have the links there in the rules. If you want to use a narrower tire, you can. Just remember, you have to glue those on the wheel. We've talked about that before. So you can put these on a 10.5 wide wheel like that, and you can make it work like Shotgun Dave right here. Look at that. See? Yeah, you have the exposed wheel, but see the way he painted it? Yeah, looks cool. So if you want to use these tires, you can all the way around if you want to. You just have to make sure they're glued on and secured. As far as the wheels go, 10.5 width is what we're going to go with. It's the same wheel that we've been using, same size wheel we've been using in the last 3 proxies for the classic NASCAR, everything. CB Design, for example, 1670. This is the 1/24th. This is the insert wheel, 3/32 bore or 1/8 bore, and this one has the rib. So you have choices of ribbed or smooth, 1/8 or 3/32 bore. I can tell you now that to make your life easy, right here, CB Design, the Steely wheel right here. This is 1/8 axle. Here's just an example with the rib, 0692. This is about as good as it gets, because 99.9% of these cars back then, that's all they had were the old stamped steel wheel. They didn't get into reinforcing until later, but that's fine. I allow that. We have these inserts like this, and you can see here, got some insert, but it still looks period correct. That's okay, but that's the max width. So we're going to use those wheels as I show in the rules, and again, Paul Gauge tires on the rear. And of course, as usual, if you have any questions, you know the deal. Okay, there you have it. Hope you accept the challenge. I tell you, you guys never cease to amaze me with some of your creativity out there. So I really look forward to it. I know that you guys really enjoy the building process and the modeling, and that's what makes it so much fun, is when those cars come in, just seeing the big variety that comes in from all of you. So I look forward to it. You got plenty of time to build. Again, you know the deal. If you have any questions, just give me a holler.